welcome again to Watchmen, the 82 podcast, the conclusion of a series. Well done. Let's give Lindelof and company their praises for landing the plane. And we will talk about said plane. The voice you hear right now is one of Wally Analog, and I'm joined, of course, by Mr. 1%, the resident elitist Rolls Royce. Elise.
Yo.
Yeah. And our first guest that we had on the podcast is now the final guest on this Watchmen A2 podcast, Mr. Van Everett. Thank you. Thank you once again.
You have reached the final level.
Yes, we have. And as has this lovely show, this wonderfully written and well thought out show, to where just everything made sense, even if it didn't. Elephants in the room and such, and eggs. We didn't understand why people were making eggs in the midst of a crisis, but it all made sense in the end. Thank you, Damon, and the rest of your writing room, your insightful and very thoughtful writing room. And thank you, Damon, Lindelof, for just having the wisdom and the humility, quite honestly, to allow those with more wisdom in certain areas to inject their opinions and their thoughts as it relates to coming up with this material, because he could have very well said, look at my resume, and this is my show, and this is how I'm going to do it, and it would have been boo-boo. But thank you for just allowing those to flourish and being someone that understood that you put the best people in the best possible situation to succeed, and this show has succeeded.
Right.
And there's my flowers that I've thrown.
Let me throw some.
This show.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm done.
Let me throw some more flowers, man. Corey Jefferson,
sir.
That one episode 6. Is it episode 6? This Extraordinary Being about Hooded Justice.
Flashback joint.
That is the penultimate episode to me. Mm-hmm. Like, that stuck out the most for me. Crystal Henry, Brandon Jacob Jenkins, Janine Neighbors, and executive producer and director Stephen Williams. Man, like that room did a superb job in illustrating the trauma, the stress that African Americans go through in this country, in the Watchmen universe and in real life. Mm-hmm. And again, I like you, Wally. There's times where I get speechless because I don't like. I would never have thought we would get a show like this. Like, even when they announced Watchmen, I was like, okay, it's going to be more about Dr. Manhattan, and it's all the Easter eggs, and it'll be about nuclear war or something like that, or whatever that version is, nowadays. But but to take that and make it about the race war, because that's what essentially is happening right now in our country. We're divided, and a lot of it is about race. Mm-hmm. Or masking, and we'll talk a lot about masks. Oh, yeah. Masking what the real issue is, and nobody's willing to get uncomfortable. And also saying that, I want to say thank you to all the guests, you Van, all the guests that have come on this show.
Every one of them. Wonderful insight and perspective, and points of view in different walks of life. Man, and very helpful. And
talking about race is uncomfortable. Like. It might not be to us, but people coming on the show, right? That might be an uncomfortable thing. And one thing that I really appreciate about Damon Lindelof is he's saying, like, that's okay. Like, I need to be uncomfortable. Yeah. He said the moment you get comfortable, you're in bad shape because you're losing perspective.
That's correct. Something's wrong if you're saying warm and fuzzy all the time.
Right. But my respect for him, and I didn't mean to cut you off. My respect for him just, went to level 10. At first I loved Lost, But like when he got to the end, I was like, oh, I'm not sure. Like it didn't land the plane there for me.
Yeah.
But what he did on this show and just listening to interview after interview with him, one of the most humble guys I've heard about,
Right.
in the Hollywood spectrum, and the way he treated the writers' room and made that room sacred and said, we're going to bounce some things around that is going to make people uncomfortable, and how do we address it, and how are we going to point to the audience directly? So I can't say enough, but thank you for giving us this show, and it's affected me. I know it's affected me personally. It's caused me to reflect on a lot of things, just by little pieces of dialogue and writing and stuff like that. So, yeah.
And I feel like the guest tonight is one of the probably the most perfect guest to go into such deep territory as it relates to this thing, as you, sir, are a paragon of wisdom. And I don't say that just because you're here. I say that because I genuinely mean that.
You said that because you just saw Crisis, bro. This is a paragon. We'll talk.
The word is apropos here, even though it's a boo-boo show in which they used it. They don't have exclusivity rights on that word. You, sir,
right,
are a paragon of wisdom. So, sir, what say you?
It's interesting because I've been talking about race so long that the idea that people still are uncomfortable about it. Like, don't get me wrong, I understand that white people are uncomfortable about it,
right?
Like, and I know that, and it's part of the reason I talk about it. Not because I'm trying to antagonize white people, but because I know that America doesn't get better unless white people are uncomfortable. There's never been a time that America has grown without white discomfort. So it's a necessity for America to be, in order for America to be better, white people have to be uncomfortable. It just doesn't work any other way.
Right.
So, but I say that to say that I've been talking about race so long, and I'm also someone who's very into, the genre, the culture and all of that type of stuff, that it was shocking for me that I did not have the imagination to think that I would see what I saw in this show. Mm-hmm. And this is somebody who has all these different thoughts about the complexities of race and even how they can overlap into culture and art and all of these things. And even with all of that, every single moment of this show was a revelation and a surprise to me. And it was like, it's something to go and see that, as both of you pointed out, this has been appointment TV, and I haven't had appointment TV in a while. So it's like to have something that not only was compelling in as much as you were getting something you wanted, but getting something that you didn't even know you wanted.
And
you needed, and you didn't. And you didn't even know it. So it's like, oh wow, that's something. That's a very rare thing. Mm-hmm. So. It's so much so that I was almost trying to get my wife to watch it, and getting her to watch something like that is a reach. But I was like, hey, I'm trying to tell you,
education.
You're missing something here. So I can't. Again, all the accolades that you guys are giving to the show, it's earned every bit of them. If they don't do another season, I can appreciate that and accept that.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
If they do another season, I'm going to at least be there to see what happens.
Yeah. And the same people need to be involved, because if Damon don't put his name on it, I'm turning up my nose past the door. I don't know. I don't like that. I need the same people involved. Because he talked about it, the possibility. Because right now he's saying, I'm not even thinking about that. It's not even. But if someone were to do it, he would have to have the imagination, like something. Because, like as you were saying, Van, there was all these things that are pertinent in today's society and culture and things like that were there for the taking, for the use of the show, to utilize in the show. And so there needs to be more of the culture kind of invading and giving him ideas, right? Because trying to make up something is going to be tougher, right? It's always good when they can use real stuff and pull from factual things and interweave it into the fiction. And like I said, like if he doesn't do anything else, cool. It can stand on its own like the book has done for years.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but
So-
if he comes back,
And shout out to Alan Moore and Dave
Dave
Gibbons,
Yes.
like the original, like
yes,
the.
they
I
may
mean,
not want it or like it, but
Yeah, well, Gibbons, he's
Gibbons
involved
is-
with it.
Gibbons
he's
is involved with it.
Yeah,
He's
okay,
involved.
okay,
And
but
Alan
Alan
Moore,
Moore is
my
like-
thing is, Alan Moore may not have ever, he may never watch it. Although, if he does, he's got to be like,
yeah,
it wasn't bad. Right?
right.
But yeah, he lived up to the spirit of everything that Alan Moore would have written.
Exactly.
If like contextually, and that's the thing, that's the trick, is like even if someone else works on it, their work would be cut out for them just from an aesthetic perspective. Not even talking about the story in and of itself. The story is one thing, but just it was a 9-panel television show.
Right.
You know what I mean? That he did what the book did. It captured visually everything that you would think would have happened had Alan Moore written another graphic novel and Dave Gibbons drew it. And that's incredible.
Right.
Absolutely, man. Where to begin though, man? As far as I mean, we could talk about everything that made the show great, but this is, after all, the finale, and a lot of things happened. We've all had our theories either proven or disproven.
Yeah.
I've said a few things that were incorrect, but I take a little pride in some things that I said that were right. You know,
Should we start at like maybe unanswered questions?
let's.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like, question 1:
Is it
who is Lube Man?
Well, you know what? PDP
PDP,
kind of
yeah.
highlights
It did?
a little bit.
Okay.
Yes.
And it's
I gotta get
heavy.
caught up
And
on
if you float over, take your mouse and float over the canola oil in the writing
What?
and click it.
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah. There are two things.
What?
Yeah, dude.
Two things.
What?
Two things in
Pedopedia.
Pedopedia.
Okay.
One.
So they did answer.
The
A
last.
little bit.
A little bit,
not-
okay.
But yeah.
Go on and spoil it for me.
Yeah.
my
Okay.
man.
So the last entry in Pedopedia.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Come on.
Spoiler alert. There are two. Let's go. There are two entries in Pedopedia.
Okay.
The second to last entry in Pedopedia talks about, it's again Petey, and he's writing, and he's talking about fog dancers.
Yes.
Now, fog dancers are these special ops groups that used to be during Vietnam, and they were dressed in these sleek silver suits.
Oh, okay.
And they did a lot of wet work. They cleaned up the
Wet
dirty
work.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they did a lot of dirty work for the people. They cleaned up the dirty work that other people couldn't even handle. Like they were
Wow.
the ultimate among that group.
Right.
And so there's a lot that's been written about them, and there's a lot that's been written about those ideas. And among the other things that Agent Petey was a big fanboy of. He's a huge fanboy of the fog dancers. So that's one of the clues that you say, okay,
Yeah.
there's a connection there.
Then it just
And then the final entry is
was one
from
entry this
from his boss,
Right.
Petey's boss,
Okay.
in the
He got
FBI.
fired.
Petey gets fired.
yeah, man. And they don't know where he at.
The last they saw him, he was in Tulsa. He wouldn't come back and do what he was supposed to do there with the FBI, so they had to fire him.
I thought he was still stuck at the crime scene at in the bomb shelter, Looking Glass
so
bomb shelter.
they clear his office out. The agent says, we're going to clear his office out. If anybody wants any of this
Delete
crap,
his emails and
yeah,
all that.
Right.
because he's
all
got
that
all
stuff.
these comic books in
Right,
here.
they come get this stuff.
Just come get this stuff, and he's got what looks like a huge vat of canola oil.
There we go.
And then when you click it, it's got this wanted poster of Lube Man's face. Have you seen this man?
Okay.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So the chances are, and even the agent in this writing says, I don't know where he is, but I got a feeling we'll probably end up having to pursue him
Right.
sooner or later because of this fascination he has with superheroes, which was something it was always hinted to. I could tell that as much he was really adept at understanding all of these different mind frames that create all these men, these masked men.
Right.
But at the same time, he also seemed to be really a little too into like the movies and all of that stuff.
When in
So-
Rome is what he said.
right,
exactly.
He brought the mask and everything.
Right.
Yeah.
And
So, yeah.
upset when he would perceive something to be inaccurate about said heroes.
He was the
particularly-
quintessential fanboy.
Yes, he was. He was that dude.
Speaking of masks, the beauty of the writing,
Yeah.
even in joking, like when I'm even thinking about Petey and when he's on the plane with Lori and he pulls out the mask and they go back and forth, like, take that ridiculous thing off, starting that conversation about masks. And then when we get the Hooded Justice reveal, and then we're like, oh, it's Sister Night's doing the reverse of what Hooded Justice did, and talking about masks, and then that line at the end killed me.
Yeah,
killed everybody, I think.
And about
wounds
need air.
Wounds need air.
Man, I said, wow,
right.
man, you can turn it off right now.
Like I teared up at that scene when he was breaking it down to Angela, and then Regina King is really good at showing
superb,
pure emotion, and you could read it all in her face, like she's. All the pain that she experienced, like all the loss that she's experienced in her life, her parents, even down to her grandmother, and there was never
husband.
That too.
Yeah.
But there was never a point where she felt connected until she met Will Reeves. And anyway, just the writing about the mask, like iconography is what I'm trying to get at. Is like you have masks that represent a lot of things, and it's layered. Then you have eggs that they kept talking about, and cloning and eggs and birth and
right.
Just I can't even say enough. Like it's just it. I can watch it again and have a new appreciation.
Yeah,
and I'm planning to watch it over again.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because now that everything has gotten revealed, there are things in there that, like even down to the closet, right? It didn't dawn on me. Right. I was like, why am I so focused on this closet? Why is Angela first? Like I wasn't trying to like make people can do what they do, when it comes to sex, but it was like, why the closet? Like it was just so odd. And then and it never dawned on me that John Osterman's first experience to witnessing something beautiful
was in a closet.
And it was almost like they were like, let's write this in here to give you a clue, man. To give you a clue. Yeah. But it was almost like each character had its own, like their own bio.
Yeah.
Like, here's John Osterman. We're not going to let the audience know that it's Cal. And these are the things this is how he's going to act. These are the books he's going to read. Here's going to, like, he's reading Things Fall Apart.
Right. Talking about life and death and all that type of stuff.
So what they did was
and he was making breakfast.
They were thoughtful enough to give every character an internal life.
Correct.
And the thing about having an internal life as a character is that some of it may actually show through and some of it may not. But it creates a 3-dimensional texture to a character that you otherwise you may, when you miss it, you don't know what it is that you're missing. You just know something's not there.
Exactly.
But it's there, and then it pays off if you notice those things. There's some people who may have never noticed that, but it still paid off because it made the characters so much more 3-dimensional.
Right.
And again, it's just profound what they did with the writing.
And there were characters, like I want to know more about Red Scare and Pirate Jenny and Panda.
Right.
Which is okay. That's not a criticism.
Yeah, because we didn't get any from them.
Yeah.
Right.
In 9 episodes, you don't have time to get into all that anyway.
Well, again, that's a callback to Alan Moore, how they built that world. I mean, you only know so much about Mothman. You only know so much about Dollar Bill. So there was all those characters. They were there because they helped build the world. They flesh it out even more. To not have them, you would never say they needed another guy with a red mask, but to not have him, you like something's missing. Right. You know what I'm saying? So that's what makes it so ingenious.
Right. The use of color, like Will Reeves wearing the red, and it's the same red as Hooded Justice.
But like you said, it's one of those things that you see, but you don't think anything about it. And then the Extraordinary Being episode, and you're like, oh, snap.
Right.
It all comes together.
It is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I think they masterfully, it was genius. The way, and I can only imagine how many hours they put in work. Like that's actual work to do that.
Yeah.
It's
to go comb it and go like
continuity coordinators, man. Like you got to make sure that what you're doing here is consistent with what you're doing farther down the road.
Right, and making sure
That's
there isn't a
tough.
Starbucks cup on the ground, or like that. Shots
Little
fired.
Oh, man.
Little shade thrown up the throat.
So I know we seem to be fawning over the series in its entirety,
Right.
but we haven't
Yes.
really gotten to the heart of the episode
Okay,
itself,
okay.
which has a lot there.
Well, we started by
Right.
the unanswered question,
Right.
that being the
Yes.
lube, and then
Right.
I'm not completely positive that Dr. Manhattan is dead.
Well,
Because they showed the energy being depleted and going into what would have been Lady True. They showed the percentage of it going down, but they didn't show where it went after she met her demise.
well, when the orb came down, it didn't have the blue energy anymore.
Okay,
It
so
flickered because all the squid were like tearing it apart, so it couldn't contain the energy. Now they didn't show the energy dissipate.
Because it scattered everywhere before, and it came back together.
Well,
back in the day,
Well, he brought it back together.
he brought it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the chamber.
Yeah. So
I see. I
So
see
the
what you're
real
saying. Yes.
the real question there is what is his consciousness capable of?
Right. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it might have got, but what does that mean?
Because-
is he? I mean, we're made to believe, yeah, he gone. He's out of here. But I mean, to the extent of his powers, I mean, how much do we really know? Of course, that's just me, being that dude, because I love Dr. Manhattan, and I don't want him to be up out of there. But we might have a new one too. So I mean, I don't know.
But
I didn't get a sense that it was just completely over. But
Well, what's
Ben.
so crazy about it though is if they don't ever do another Watchmen, they ended it with this show. If you think about it,
No,
Dr.
absolutely.
Manhattan was the nuclear
Right.
weapon. Now they left it open where if Angela
that's what I'm
eats
saying.
the egg,
That's what I'm saying.
did she pretty much
get
get
the
his
powers,
essence,
yeah.
get his powers? But and I like. Let me finish my first thought because that actually brings on another thought. The fact that she, if she took his powers, like what does that mean? But they killed him off,
Right.
quote unquote.
Right.
They arrested Ozymandias
Right.
and said, "No, you
Not
killed
to do
three."
that. You killed a lot of people. It's time to stand some,
Right.
due
And he-
process for the first time
Right,
in the entire series.
We will see. Maybe.
right, right.
Yeah, They definitely arrested him. Whether or not he'll stand trial
That is true.
is
Right.
another story.
Because the other trial was just a play.
Yeah. There's a lot that
Yes, right.
that
was crazy.
That was one of the most interesting endings to me of all of it was his place in there because it opened up something about his character that you didn't get until then. The nature of his ego that he knew how much time he had there before he would even have an opportunity to even get a message out.
So he just
so he
decided
needed
write
to
this
do something
long, elaborate
play.
play.
Yeah, because he had to do
entertain
something
him.
to keep his ego,
Yeah.
entertained
Yeah.
in all of that time. And so it's interesting that you get to see that about him because that really, it's like it's so
Raging
interesting to
narcissism.
watch.
He admits it.
Yeah, it's so interesting to watch to have watched all those episodes and not realize that this was really giving you it was a character study of Dr. Manhattan. I mean of Ozymandias.
Yeah.
Until the very last episode, and then you're like, "Oh my god!"
This dude just
And to parallel him with Dr. Manhattan, Dr. Manhattan, he was like, I can't
this is
can't
too much
interfere.
for me.
Well, no, he's like, I can't interfere. Like this is the way things are supposed to happen. When Angela's like, "Oh, we won," and he's like, "I'm sorry,"
Yeah,
and he knew that this guy was going to blast him, and he gets sucked in. So I found that interesting too, and it's funny. Christy, she was a guest of the show. She texted me and she was like, "I just don't, I just don't understand how Dr. Manhattan wouldn't do anything more. Like when Will said he could have done more.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, he could have done more, but that's the question.
Everybody's perception,
right?
And that's where the parallel we talked about it before. That's the parallel between Dr. Manhattan and what is the general. I won't say general consensus, but many people's opinion as it relates to Christianity and God. Right.
Right.
If if there's someone that wields this amount of power, why isn't there an actions taken to prevent a lot of things happening from happening? When the fact of the matter is that's not what he's there to do, right? Like, as a Christian, you believe that his will is what it is, and there's no changing that. For him to do something other than what's already laid out, is contrary to his will. You see what I'm saying? So while stuff looks horrible, that's the way it's supposed to be. I mean, I don't know if I would love to know whoever came up with Dr. Manhattan and his power set drew from that concept. Because it's so closely paralleled with
it's the idea. You always got to remember the central theme with the Watchmen. One of the central themes is this idea of power. It's always about power, and it's about who should wield power, what would they do with the power, and why does this person have power. So they gave all these different types of characters, and they all have this. They all are operating with different levels of power, and power is the thing, even up to the presidency. There's a reason that Alan Moore decided to make sure that in each of the stories has a president that's been the president for way too long. Right. And it's like that because they need you to see what happens if you give a person that much power.
Right.
Correct. And so, and the genius of Lindelof was to say, I'm not going to make it another Republican. I'm going to make it a Democrat. And then that way you see that this isn't a Democrat or Republican problem. It's a problem about power
and whoever
and
has
about
it.
who's managing that power. So the thing about Dr. Manhattan and the idea, the religious context of it, is that what it brings up, again, to Alan Moore's questioning is, are we to submit to this idea of a higher power? And if we do, what do we relinquish? What are you giving up? Because otherwise, because you have to wrestle with what it means to you. So, for instance, the big thing about Dr. Manhattan is that he, in theological terms, is all about predestination. Everything is predestined. So there's nothing he can do about anything.
Right.
And that in and of itself is something that the other characters are wrestling with, because that's not theologically, that's a belief system that was kind of crystallized by John Calvin, which is interesting because of the name Calvin in the show, of being Dr. Manhattan. But that's not the idea that every Christian has. That's a push and pull that's theologically been going on for centuries.
Right.
Is it predestination, or is it is there this open space that allows us free will? Because if our free will is if our spiritual state is dependent on our free will, then those ideas don't jive. And that's the question. It becomes this thing. So we're wrestling with that in that series. It's because everyone else has this idea of free will, and they're like, if I were him, I would do it differently.
Right. That's correct.
So it's like correct. even down to Angela's like, would she do it differently? The funny thing to me that was interesting about I forget the leader of the 7th Cavalry, Keene. The funny thing about the idea of Keene taking on Dr. Manhattan's powers is that he assumes that if he had the power to see everything, as it were, that he would still be concerned with white people.
Right.
And it's like, where the truth is if you saw everything and all you saw people were atoms, would you really think that white supremacy would be that much of an idea at the forefront of your mind?
Suspect now, but in his mortal mind, that's all he
exactly
can see.
Exactly
all he can digest.
So it's nothing to say that none of them would be anything other than what John Osterman was, if they had that same power,
but they would like to know.
But that made me enjoy his character even more, because that was a character study on Dr. Manhattan as well that we didn't. We got a lot of it in the literary novel, but with this show, you really got a sense of like what made him tick, and really doubling down on the like, okay, I'm gonna be present, like capital present, like I'm gonna be present every single aspect, you know. So, the other thing that's great about, and I know I'm pointing back to this episode, but it's hard to do that without
Without
like
talking about
pointing
the
back.
other ones,
Yeah. The thing that I appreciate about this show and what I really thought about was this show didn't have to use a lot of action to get the point across.
No.
The only action beats were like the first couple of episodes. After that, it was like,
And then Hooded Justice when he was
Well, and Hooded
busting
Justice,
up
right, yeah.
warehouses and throwing people and getting.
but in
jumped
terms
out
of like
windows.
Angela, like you thought, well, Sister Night gonna be
she
kicking butt all the time.
every day.
Yeah, no,
No.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I even like her transformation from, wearing the mask to when we get to the end, she's not even wearing the mask anymore. I even like the outfit she had. I was like, that outfit's dope, Like it was almost like a new outfit.
Yeah.
And I just, the being able to make us believe the love between Dr. Manhattan and Angela in a couple of, like in one episode.
Yes.
To make you care at the end when they're having that dialogue and she's like, like she's begging him not to like stay. And he's like,
No,
I can't,
Yeah.
I know,
It's not-
I
it's
can't.
not part of the plan.
I told you.
Yeah.
It's gonna end
Yes.
terribly.
Right.
You signed up for this.
And that line in that episode, he's like, doesn't it all end in tragedy? And I was like,
Yeah.
when you really think about relationships, like, you have your spouse and it's like, eventually one of us is going to pass away. And that's a tragedy. It's a natural order of life, but it's a tragedy.
Yeah.
You have relationships with people and, eventually there will be a tragedy.
Yeah.
And that line just rang out. And there were several moments like that in the show where it was like, you have these takeaways that you can literally put on I don't want to reduce it down to a fortune cookie, but it's like, it's bigger than that. It's like, you can literally like write theses on each one of these things,
Yeah.
So
What they did with dialogue, like what you're speaking to, what they did with dialogue was just really impressive.
Yes.
To be able to manage, because there are times that there is a lot of dialogue going on.
Right.
And it doesn't, and every bit of it is compelling. Every bit of it moves the story forward, and every bit of it makes you want to continue to hear more. And you're not thinking, well, when are they going to stop talking to get to whatever else?
Right.
It's like there's something else. It's like the dialogue is the thing. And that was the
it
thing
wasn't
that
the fighting. That's the thing.
That's
It
what
was,
I'm saying. That's
it's
what I'm
the
saying.
dialogue.
We
The
don't care
dialogue.
about fighting. You're right.
The dialogue was the power.
Now,
The thing.
What was interesting to me is the only time the dialogue did not work for me was in two areas of the very last episode.
Interesting.
And that was when there was the monologuing of Keen.
Oh, what you
like,
gotta have that though.
Yeah.
You
I have a
gotta
different approach. But go finish your thought.
It was. I thought it was a bit much. I appreciated that he wanted the grandeur of it all. So I got it. You got to see his ego in full display.
Right.
Him
In front of
saying,
all his
"Yeah, I'm going to tell you what my whole
senior
master plan
cavalry,
is." So,
yeah.
and I got that. But it
Ozymandias did the same thing though.
yeah,
man.
but the difference with Ozymandias was that it was already done.
Right. Yeah,
And
that's
that-
true.
30
Which-
minutes ago.
The monologue told you more about his character once you realized that it was already done.
Right.
Because it showed you how much he plans.
Right.
And the way that's what it opened up. Because otherwise, it just if he had just monologued and that was it just makes him a villain like every other thing you've ever
Right.
watched. But it's like, and that's what that kind of felt weird to me about the whole Keen thing. I think some of it they could have kind of kept back. And even some of the exchange at first with Lady True and Ozymandias in Antarctica, it felt like, I don't know if I need to hear all of those plots. I know they're telling me the things that I was wondering anyway.
Right.
But they've done so well with being able to show rather than tell that I would have liked to found a way for them to do that.
Episode,
Yeah, it's like they had to get it done. Exactly.
They had to write
Yeah.
had to put it right on the nose.
Well-
episode 9, baby.
I didn't mind it because it was the way they did it. I actually find it humorous because it was so flawed, and it was kind of like, and there was a possibility that he could pull that off, and I was like, ooh, if he pull that off, it ain't gonna be good, you know. But and I was like, oh, here we go, monologuing,
yeah.
But then you enter Lady True, and it's a different tone. Like, no, I've already I've already thought about this.
Right.
Yeah.
I just need some money.
Well, that and
When she shows up at the
she shows
the
up
end, yeah.
like they what was interesting was when they extracted the energy,
Oh, yeah, you're talking
it
about
transported them
Yeah,
into
into Greenwood.
So
No, she was the one that had everything thought out.
Right.
And I think that's why it was almost, and it may or may not have been, but it may have been an expose of Keen's kind of naivete.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, not even realizing, dog. You've just been a pawn in this whole thing.
you thought you were using the seventh
the
calendar.
master planner, but you were not.
Right.
And so now that's why you up here talking. And it almost made him look stupid. It almost served the purpose and all
Interesting.
that talking. And so, and my girl is the one.
Right.
Like, she didn't do no whole lot. I mean, she talked about it in the beginning, but she is the one. She's the one. They're going to get better Dr. Manhattan. They're going to do all this stuff.
They're gonna
do
steal
all this
my
stuff.
batteries.
And yes, I'm letting them take the batteries. Yes, I'm the master planner. So you can say, it's different when, like you're saying, the monologuer is that dude and has planned it out, but he ain't that dude.
Yeah.
And so
You're right.
to me,
I didn't think
was
about
just
it like that.
that dude.
And
He's
this,
just
the senior leadership of Cyclops,
yeah.
what was it, June Crawford? Is it that's her
June,
name?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when
gangster.
she was like, get on with it.
Man, what
And I was-
you gonna kill us? Go ahead with it.
Yeah.
right. And everybody else was like, oh, I
What
don't
you
want
talking about? What you talking- They were
that.
getting up like, what's this woman talking about?
Yeah.
What's he talking about? Yeah, she was probably.
I found that
the most
intriguing
gangster
too.
One in
Yeah.
the group.
You know what, y'all, when y'all pointed out like that, what it really makes me think of when I think back to his monologue now, because he goes into the whole thing about how white people are being
Yeah,
oppressed
white
and
people-
everything, that it in its own way felt like a metaphor for white supremacy, for organized structural white supremacy in America. And the way that it operates on such a small level that it gets in its own way. That there are all these things, there are all these powers that are much bigger than them that they are not even capable of being able to comprehend simply because they cannot get beyond their own whiteness.
Right. Exactly.
And it's like, and that's what that kind of
their plots are convoluted and crazy sounding, and you know what I'm saying.
and
Yeah.
it's because it's always, it has to be, because they are always at the center. They have to be centered in all of it. And so you take someone like Lady True, who knows that these people have to be centered in all of it. They would never even think that, despite
Right.
the fact that
plain
she's
sight, hiding in plain sight.
they know she's the world's smartest woman. They know she's built this contraption here. They see all of this right before their eyes, yet they never give any credence
Right.
to
And
what.
even when they're told,
Yeah.
Cincinnati's like, no, y'all, your girl, she wants y'all to steal the stuff. No. And he's like, man, get on out of here with that.
And I also found the humor in it because when he was, shedding his clothes, he had the
wearing that Manhattan drawers.
Yeah, and I was
Manhattan
like, man,
The dude had the Manhattan drawers.
the
on.
Manhattan
Like,
underoos.
like so much narcissism there. Like,
Right.
dude, come on, bruh. How much hubris can that be?
right.
Yeah.
He had somebody make him some Manhattan drawers. They ain't selling them in Target. The dude just had on a pair.
They might have. I mean, they got Excaliburs.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah,
but
he
listen,
them on VVN Day.
but you,
Manhattan drawers.
you gotta say, if you're gonna go all out, you might as well go and get the
That man
Manhattan
got
drawers.
butt naked.
You stole all those batteries, you melted them down. Are you not going to have the Manhattan drawers? Like, I'm going this far. Why would I not have them?
Right.
What did you think was going to be under here? Do you see this setup?
Right.
The masks these guys got on. Of course, I got Dr. Manhattan drawers
Yeah,
on.
both.
That would have been more surprising if he hadn't had them.
Right,
Dr.
he would've put
If he
on
had
some
boxers on. Yeah.
Would have been confusing if you had like Stacey Adams on with it or something. Sorry.
Oh, not the Adams. Not the Adams.
Adams?
If ever there's a time for Dr. Manhattan drawers to be appropriate, that was it.
Yeah, yeah.
You gotta give it
my
to
wife was watching. She was like, "What in the world? What is that he got on?" I was like, "Babe, them Dr. Manhattan drawers." That's just what I said. I was like, "That's what he be wearing."
And when they show
And she was
Cal,
like, "Oh, because every time I see him, he butt naked." I was like, "Yeah,
yeah,
yeah."
which I found the humor in because like Dr. Manhattan is sitting right there, or Cal sitting right there, and there was a shot where I was like, oh, snap. It's like, whoa, what?
Why do we got to see this all the time? They going to give you the
Authentic.
Well, you can't spell Manhattan without man. And doggone it, they going to let you know every episode.
At least
one episode it was brown, the next one it was blue. They going to show it to you.
Right.
Put some drawers on, man. Yeah, you couldn't. My man had his drawers. my man had his drawers.
But even the writing in terms of like we were asking the question during White Knight, what happened to the second guy?
Yes. See, that's what that monologue helped to serve.
Right.
Because we were like, what happened to dude? And we learned that the guy got teleported before.
To Gila Flats.
But we didn't know the full story about the phone call. Hey, man. Because even though we figured, okay, Dr. Manhattan zapped him off at, episode before, we figured that out. But I as far as I was concerned, I still was at a loss as to how in the world did they know that man was Dr. Manhattan or thought he was Dr. Manhattan and lived in that house until they
when they said the
phone
Gila
call thing, and
right.
then he was like, yeah, man, I got teleported. And that's when it was like,
but it was documented that Gila Flats is where Dr. Manhattan was born.
So now it made all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. And then when he got to talking about the whole, the orchestrated friendship, quote unquote, between the Judge fam and they weren't even cool with him like that. So now when you go back and look at that episode, it's like, y'all dirty, man. They over there chatting and eating and chopping it up, eating dinner together and you know what I'm saying, having conversations and
the cocaine,
goodness.
We were right. When he was sniffing cocaine, we were like, okay, wait a minute. There's something's odd here.
Something
Like,
ain't right.
he's singing and they're laughing and having a great time. Like it's a
He's like,
barbecue.
this is
and
fake,
then
man.
he's like, man, I got to go over here. I can't stomach these people. Like, I got to sniff.
Right.
I thought about the cocaine, and what I was thinking is I'm in a room with someone who can disassemble me atomically.
And plus I don't like
This
blacks.
makes me nervous.
Right.
Like if he does.
But do you think they knew that?
No, he knows that that's Dr. Manhattan.
They know it's Dr. Manhattan because White Knight has happened at this point. He, his dude got teleported away.
Yeah, they're aware of it.
I see.
This has been orchestrated. Okay, get close to them, make friends.
I gotcha.
And win their trust, and to the point where Angela legitimately felt like that was her boy.
Yeah,
she was legit hurt about that hanging.
But that speaks to some of the needs that she had. I mean, she had this need for family. She had this need for a sense of justice, and she had this need for family. And in the police force, she found both.
Right,
a father figure and justice.
So everything that she would need, and not only just through just be with her co-workers, but she actually took on the sons of one of her fellow officers.
Correct.
So to
family.
have so it's only natural that she would take to Judd in the way that she did, as long as he was willing to extend himself like that.
And that was, go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, you go ahead, man.
Well, that was a power of writing too, because before they made the reveal that he had a Klan costume in his closet, I actually was like, like, is Judd okay? And then, but I did also find it interesting that he was so adamant about killing, like when they went into the cattle ranch or whatever.
Yeah, Lindelof explained that.
Yes,
man.
and he explained, and I was like, okay, even that was explained.
Like, we got to wipe them out because I don't need this getting out and them getting away and messing up the plan.
And they're going to expose my plan.
And that whole closeness to the family, man, that speaks to something I had mentioned before about many times the argument when a white person is labeled as racist. The first things they'll say is like, "Oh, I have black friends," or I have hired this. What are you talking about? I have hired these blacks to come work for my corporation or whatever. Man, they will do whatever they need to do if it benefits them. Yeah. He is in that uncomfortable situation. Like, he doesn't really like these people. But in the grand scheme of things, he will do what's necessary. And it doesn't necessarily mean you're not racist. You can be the biggest racist in the world and align yourself with whoever you need to align yourself with in order to gain whatever it is you're trying to get.
I think it also speaks to the idea, the American idea about racism that we diverge on as black and white people. That white people understand racism as a personality trait, and black people understand it as a structure.
Yes.
So it's like you can hire, you can have friends, you can do all those things, but as long as you're attempting to maintain a structure that is racist,
right?
That's because that's the only one that really is going to matter at the end of the day.
Because the other thing is just prejudice,
and that's and that's what's happening here is that they're attempting to rebuild a structure that's racist, and it's like you said, they don't want to apologize. They're tired of all. And it's like, So that was the biggest thing. Even so, you could take someone like Judd or even Keen, who on some level you have to believe that he believes that he's not racist.
Right.
When he says what he says about, he just wants things to be right. Because again, as they often say, as they often say that when you're accustomed to being on top of oppression, anything other than being able to oppress people, you think is oppression.
Right.
So
equality is oppressive.
Yeah, equality is oppressive
those who are privileged.
Yeah.
That's correct.
I 1,000% agree with what y'all just said. I also thought deeply about that too, about the masks symbolism. And a lot of times as human beings we tend to not necessarily wear a physical mask, but we do it in social media. We post we get on Instagram and post our
I'm the best dad ever.
Right. Yeah. Or sorry, you threw me off there.
I'm sorry. Man, I see a lot of that was like, I know you, dude.
Right.
No, you ain't.
Right. Right.
Sorry.
We mask ourselves. We mask our true selves by painting this fake picture on social media. I'm this, I'm that. Even in our interactions, we might mask ourselves. And that I saw that, like, that dichotomy where it was off. I was like, man, why is this dude doing cocaine in a family setting? And even Angela was enough. She was like, okay, you're okay.
Yeah.
It's like,
just get it off.
Right. Which was even that spoke volumes too. And even Angela, she was masking her pain. Like if you think about it, when she had that initial talk with Will Reeves, she was upset that he killed her mentor, father figure, whoever Judd was in her life.
Yeah.
And she showed emotion, in privacy. Quick burst of emotion. She's really good at that. She showed that emotion, and then she put the mask on, and she was cool, calm, and collected.
Yeah.
And that was a rhythm and the pattern that she exhibited throughout the show. There was even points where she was starting to become unraveled when they were when they raided Nixonville.
Yeah.
And she was like, I don't some and Looking Glass is like
out.
Right.
And then she had to participate and didn't mind.
Right. And then she walked away from Looking Glass and sat in her car and was like, trying to get herself together.
Yeah.
And it was off because you were like, okay, what's the deal? But like, I loved the writing. They were bringing you along on her journey, and you were like, okay, something's off, and you couldn't connect the dots because they weren't telling the story in order.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
They were telling it backwards. You had to go into her life, and she had to take nostalgia to get to that place where it was like, not only are you're gonna soak up your grandfather's pain and anguish, but it's gonna intermix with yours because y'all share the same DNA.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that? Like we said, everybody's hooded justice now. Every black person,
we're all hooded justice.
Is hooded justice.
One bad decision away from
correct.
Yeah.
Man, let's talk about my girl True.
Yeah.
And the origin. Now I had been documented as saying that Ozymandias was her dad.
Absolutely.
However,
yes,
I was wrong about the process. What was I wrong about that process?
Right.
Because what I had said before, I said something about
very mechanical.
Yeah. I said something about harvesting his memories or whatever, and then injecting him into like a clone.
Yeah, we got to talk about that too.
No, we
in a
just
minute.
I'm just gonna go ahead and take some of this semen. Mom's just that was real gangster. I thought it was very interesting how easy it was to break in, though.
Yeah,
Not very password secure. But then again, computers weren't that sophisticated as technology was frowned upon.
You know, I guess she was a cleaning lady, so I guess
Yeah,
she
she was a
observed
cleaning lady.
things. I
Yeah,
guess
but
maybe.
Wow, that takes a lot.
it
To still
seemed
get a password.
it seemed like the further things went along from when he dropped the squid on New York, the more he allowed his ego to take charge of the things he was doing. He became not lax, but he wasn't as thorough about the things he was taking care of,
Right.
because he was so obsessed with this idea that the world was not the utopia that he had hoped he would have
and
created.
He didn't thank me for the effort. Well, first of all, he was upset that no one was aware of his efforts. But it had to be that way. So, and that's what's so funny about that too. It's like, well, dude, you knew the secret had to be kept. So to expect accolades
Yeah.
is not even realistic. But he's such a
But
narcissist.
he
that
idolized
still-
Alexander the Great. You know, it's like
he wanted to be a god that created his own Satan and destroyed his own Satan in front of all of his worshipers so that they could worship what he just did.
Right.
Because even when he got his own worshipers, he didn't want
He didn't
them.
want them. He was just like,
He's like, this isn't what I need. I need.
So I'm going to abuse them and spell out my SOS message with their dead bodies.
Yeah, so the fact that he left that the maid was able, the cleaning lady was able to get in at that point when he's recording a message to Robert Redford,
Right.
something
that turned out to be a legit message on that.
yeah,
on
something
that CD.
before then you wouldn't have imagined him doing.
No.
But the way they played it out, you see this desperation he has
need
by
somebody.
not having his ego stroked
Right.
anymore.
Right.
It made much more sense.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, okay, I can see how she
correct.
would have gotten in and gotten
True
at
enough.
what he had.
I'll
Yeah.
allow it. Yep. Makes sense.
Speaking of Ozymandias, the way they told a story where he was hiding in plain sight, he was the statue.
He was the
Yeah.
statue.
They just let
Didn't we say that? Didn't we say that? That probably was. We said
We- but-
we said that he was the meteor.
But what we got-
said it.
Yes, but what we got wrong was we thought he was there in the statue and all this stuff was playing in his mind because it was so fantastical. But then when they revealed, you know,
Yeah, it was
Dr.
just-
Manhattan was on Europa,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is some of the most beautiful like CG I've seen in my
my
life.
goodness.
Like when he started like creating stuff, I was
Yes,
like,
man.
what
It
is
was
going
wonderful,
on?
yeah.
Right. And he did it in a way where it was only part of the moon. It wasn't the whole moon. He just said,
Right.
like,
Let me
I'm just going to take
do
this section.
part right here.
Right. So it made sense that he's tethering out into outer space from what
From the
Dr.
dome.
Manhattan created. Yeah. And I was just like, man, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And the fact that I also love that, and going back to Lady True and her character, like I like the fact that she was smart enough to go, you know something, I'm gonna I don't know if it was intentional, but what I liked about the writing was she's gonna tell him that she's his daughter, and he's like, you know, I'll never call you my daughter,
correct.
Yeah.
or whatever. And then she was like, huh, that message you wrote, you called me daughter. You know, it's like, and I was
right.
like, wow. Like
Right.
he got to that breaking point where it's
Right.
like,
I
I gotta swallow all this ego because I ain't gonna get out of here unless,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. And you know that took a lot.
And,
Right.
and that was the thing they recurringly kept doing, was that in any good graphic novel or comic, that a good origin story isn't just about how did they get the powers or how did they decide to start wearing the costume. It's also about what makes them who they are internally.
correct.
Aside from whatever their abilities are, because her abilities were incredible, that she had the genius that she had and the ability she was able to do what she was able to do. But you got to understand who she was by the fact that she would bring Ozymandias back so that he could see what she
Right.
was getting ready to do.
Right.
Because
he doubted her.
yeah,
And he needed
and she would have
needed him to
benefited.
know.
She would have benefited by not having him there.
Right.
The same way she would. There's no reason for her to clone her mother, but she had to have these people see
Exactly.
what it was she was capable of doing.
Right.
And that was one of her greatest shortcomings.
Right.
And the trauma that
all
she
the
felt.
arrogant, and all
Exactly.
the arrogant
Right.
people follow the same pattern.
Yeah.
But it's the like, and
It's that
Lindelof
trauma.
talks about that.
yeah.
Everybody in that show had a level of trauma, and they either use masks to hide it, and like what Will said, we saw a whole episode of like that wasn't anger, that was fear and sadness,
hurt. Yeah,
and I was just like,
yeah.
I was like, what? Like
That is the basis of it, right?
Right.
Like anger is born from that stuff, right?
From fear.
When you're afraid of something, that is the foundation of all, and people know it, and it is used. I mean, your man Ozymandias even said, he was like, the greatest weapon.
It's
the
fear.
greatest weapon. Don't use it. Not a squid or a bomb or anything else.
fear.
That's all you need. You get that, man.
So
you got it
apply
working
that.
for you. You
So
got it working.
So jump from the Watchmen universe to our universe, the real world. That was the beauty of it too, because it's deconstructing. Like, there's a lot of anger around, racial issues.
Yes.
People get killed,
Yes.
and they're basically saying, like, strip that away, take the Band-Aid off of that, let the wound get the air,
thing up.
and
Call
okay,
it what it is.
white person, what are you fearing about the
Right.
black
Yeah.
person? There's nothing to fear,
Yeah.
and vice versa,
And I think that's always
and vice versa, because yes, now we have fear because it's been embedded in our DNA. We
Not safe.
right, yeah, it's like we're not in a safe environment. We have the trappings of we're free, and
Right.
but we still know in the back of our minds,
There are
and we
limits.
all wear masks. We walk into corporate America.
Oh,
we,
yeah.
we
Put the mask on
We
every
put the
day.
mask on.
Had to.
Unwillingly. Like, I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's natural. It's like we don't want to put on the mask, but we have to survive.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like
I mean,
like a
hooded justice.
Yeah.
And it's
Same thing, man.
that's crazy. Like
Same
to
thing.
to.
These people are geniuses.
I mean,
They're geniuses, man.
Yeah.
took geek culture like, and it points back to the original graphic novel as the basis, because they wouldn't have the fertile ground to even get here if they didn't have that
Right.
Yeah.
as the architect of that. So
It's the connection between those two, that graphic novel and that series. I don't think a lot of people can really appreciate just how tightly
Seamless.
connected that they are.
I've always
Because-
said it looks like somebody just put the second half of the story away
yeah,
and just dug it out this year.
yeah, because
Like
it's
they wrote it. in
Alan
85.
Moore is writing about America.
Yes.
He's writing about America. Now, of course, he's writing about America as a British man who hasn't, so it's understandable
But he's
that
unbiased.
Yeah.
But he has that benefit of seeing it for what it is.
yeah. So he sees this, and he sees America, and he sees this idea of capitalism. He sees his, fear and all these things, and he makes these statements about it and power and the worship of power in America and the way that we succumb to it. And then Lindelof takes that very thing and he writes about America, and it's like, and the funny thing is, people are like, well, the interjection that people originally had about him writing about America, but he added race to it. It's like, no, you can't write about America
can't.
without writing
Right.
about race. Not if
it was
you know,
built on it.
It was
It was built. I mean,
racism. America is a house made of bricks. And the bricks are democracy, capitalism, and a whole lot of other different stuff. But the mortar that holds those
mortar,
bricks
right.
together is racism.
That's
Racism
that's
is-
that's
It
chilling.
does not
Correct.
stand without it. And so he's writing about that in this story. And it's like, so fear and trauma, and there, it's all there. It's like, it's rich. There's something rich there to be written about if you're bold enough and humble enough at the same time,
Right.
to be willing to write about it. And he
Right.
was able to pull that
Yes.
off. So yeah, the idea of the trauma and the fear that kind of spills out in the way people mask it,
Right.
like we do in the real world, is something that's just rich. It's something there's so much you can do with it.
If
Right.
racism is the mortar, then classism must be the foundation, because that is
Right.
what they don't want you to realize is the real problem here, right? They racism, that was a thing created to blind you from the fact that we're trying to continue to be the haves and keep these have-nots where they are. You know what I'm saying? As long as we can make you think, and we've talked about this before.
If you can be a poor white person,
if you can be a poor white person, we need to make you sure that you understand that you're better than the best black person. You know what I'm saying? So let's interject race here so that we can hide the real problem, right? Like Lady True is the high level, right?
Yeah.
And then my man Keen is down here. You see what I'm saying? Like, she's rich. I got all the means. I need to maintain this. Let me use racism. It's just like in real life. It's like she's in another tax bracket. She has power, right? And she wants more. She wants
it doesn't affect her as much.
Right.
Yeah.
So let me shine this light on racism to shine that light in your face to blind you from what the real problem is, which is classism, right? I mean, that's the thing. Like you could be the poorest white person, and still think you should have more rights and should be able to make America great again at the expense of the best black people out there, and that's what it is. I mean, that's the parallel I saw.
Yeah, I think one of the interesting parallels that I think of with Lady True, and I kind of alluded to it earlier, is that although she's Vietnamese, she is a superpower, an Asian superpower that has more money than you could ever imagine, and has already inundated the American culture with her products. So much so that they already they already need her.
Yes.
And
oh, dude,
and the white supremacists.
Wow.
You see where I'm going here?
Yes,
so
yes.
so and
No, I'll add to it, but keep going.
Yeah.
and the white supremacists are so caught up with their own America firstness that they aren't ready to deal with this Asian superpower
Right.
that is already inundated in every fabric of their
Go
their
and get in
being.
your Manhattan booth.
Yeah. So so they're not even ready, and that how that is a parallel to where we are with China right now.
That's right.
It's like,
That's right.
It's like I said, so many layers, and you wonder how much of this they thought through, and how much just
fell in
works
their lap.
itself out.
Yes.
Yeah, once you
Yes,
start telling the
thinking
story.
and overthinking the thing.
Well, I mean, Beyonce said it before she inseminated herself. I want I want you to be that power that she kept saying. I be as strong as the Wu Army. She was monologuing.
Right,
Yeah.
she was.
Before she said "F you,"
Jergens
Ozymandias
in the file.
Right, Jergens in the file.
Replace it with this good Jergens.
Right.
Ooh, this show, man.
Yeah. I feel like we're missing something.
I feel like it too. I don't know.
Okay.
Like one thing I found interesting was when they zapped Dr. Manhattan's power, Cal's body was still there and he was talking, and then you didn't see him again. You know what I'm saying? Like, did he disappear or did he? I can't remember but I remember there was a point where it was like, okay, that's real Calvin, not Dr. Manhattan. You know. So I don't know. I feel like I'm missing something.
I think what's left on the table with the show is enough. Like we said, I know we be happy if it ends.
Yes,
where it is, but there's enough that's left on the table to make something really great.
Right.
And I'm not even saying that from the perspective of them staying in Tulsa.
Right.
Like they could completely they could take it because America has a lot of stuff to talk
my
about.
God.
So
yes.
they could go entirely.
Yes.
But what's left there when you have? Do they decide to address the Redford situation? You know, do they decide to even address Ozymandias and what happened there? It's like, because you think, well, okay, he's going to be brought to justice, but it's like, no, how do you bring someone like that to justice and keep your system intact? It's like, so there are all these questions like that. Even if Angela does get that power, what does she do with that power? You know, it's all there. Those questions are, and the fact that they're left open makes us have to have discussions about power.
correct.
But they also, if they don't leave them open, leaves us an opportunity to have a really good story to see.
Right, because that was one thing I told Christy was like, if Now, I believe that Dr. Manhattan put his stuff in the egg. Like, I mean, he's proven. Yeah. Well, he's proven, and they said even in that, she's like, well, you could put, you take this egg and, all this stuff. Right. So, so it's like you believe it, but then I like that they left the question open. Okay, if Angela has a power, then what? Right. Because the thing is she have too? Correct. She's still suffering from trauma. She's,
Do we want her to have that?
Right. To be honest with you, like you look at Dr. Manhattan, and I think what makes him powerful is he experienced trauma when he was a kid. Like his backstory has a lot of trauma in it. Yeah. But the fact the way he got his powers, it gave him an awareness where he was like, okay, I can see how my life played out. And I can see the trauma. I'm up here and I'm looking at the trauma, and I'm able to not necessarily disconnect from it, but appreciate it. Mm-hmm. And that was the one thing that I found with Dr. Manhattan and Angela's love story. He's like, when they did that trick where they go through the motions and then they go back in time and go, okay, this is when Dr. Manhattan first saw her in the bar. Like you just saw her back, and he was like, this is the moment. Like she had so much sadness, inside of her, and it was almost like he was appreciating what she's going to become. And that was a thing too, and it's and even that it keeps looping back because it's like, well, is she gonna become you, or like
And it's, well, I think that what was interesting about that idea is that she is, although those things that he saw drew him to her,
right?
It's the fact that he also can't see everything about her because he's already been in that 10-year period where the tachyons don't allow him to see anything.
Right.
So she's one of the few people that when he would engage her, that there's going to be this entire period that anything is possible.
Right.
Whereas in most instances for him,
unknown in his existence.
The only unknown. So it's like, and to have that to be his only unknown, and to know on the other end of that unknown that she would exhibit an act of love for him that would, make him make that decision in the first place.
Right.
It's like that's
But even the fact they show how powerful he is, because even when he came out of it, it was almost and Lindelof said it was like he was rebooting. It was like, oh, White Knight happened, and this guy was here,
that guy.
and then and then he's standing in the pool and he's like soaking it all in, and it's like, okay, now I know everything. Now I'm back. It's like, and that's crazy.
Yeah.
Unanswered question.
Will
Reeves, man. How is he able? How was he putting? Okay, so explain that.
He was boiling eggs.
That was unexplained.
It was.
No, well, he was boiling eggs, but he put his hand in the hot water.
No, but man, we
and he
drunk
piping hot coffee or tea, whatever.
I mean,
and also there was a scene where he's talking to Dr. True, and then when he's talking to Lady True, and he gets him like, my feet are just fine.
That's what I'm saying.
It's like, what? Okay, something is off. Like something.
Dr. Manhattan gave him something.
I think I have no idea. It could either be Dr. Manhattan or it could have been Lady True. Like, I mean, anyone who had the depth of knowledge of genetic engineering that she had, she probably has done all types of things to enhance this man who's already over a century in age.
Oh, I see. So because he made a deal with her, she was able to assist him,
and she seemed very interested in assisting him. Like she, whereas she kind of dealt with everybody else in a much more cold manner.
She needed to use those people that he had a vendetta against anyway.
Right. Yeah.
So she's like, bet that I'll do that for you.
Yeah.
That even made her doper because it was kind of like you took his plan. And baked it
flawlessly
into your plan.
What about the mind control thing, though? Does he still have that? The little flashing thing?
I don't know.
That's still out there.
That's pretty good stuff too.
That's still out there. And that is the brilliance of the show, is that all of the machinations of power are still there.
Right.
They're all still there. Yeah. Because they even though power, whereas we get so caught up in these stories that we watch, and the power becomes the thing that the power represents becomes the thing that we focus on so much that we forget that there's a story about people and decisions. So what they did was they took all of those items and all of those things that represent power, and they leave them there. So you can still pursue that if you want, but there was a story here that you really needed to be following,
right,
that was much more important than the things.
Correct.
So it's like, because there will always be something.
Yes.
There's always going to be something that people will use for power. They'll either use it for good or they'll use it for ill. They'll have a mind control device. They'll have something that they can use. They'll have them some clock or whatever it is that they're building. It'll still be there.
Right.
The question isn't about, well, the ring, the green ring is
right.
What would you do if you had that ring? And that's what makes these things interesting for us
right,
at the end. But they make us face our decisions more.
Gosh. Yeah, I really love the show. If it comes out like a Blu-ray or something, like, I'm buying it. I will support every instance of it.
Same.
They doing box sets or whatever. Hey, sign me up, pre-order.
Yeah. And if it doesn't win some, we've gotten a lot of verbal accolades, but it better have some physical, tangible hardware at these Emmys or whatever. Because it's just travesty if it doesn't win something. If not, everything it should be up for. My goodness, man.
But
I don't say I watch a whole lot of television. I'll be the first to admit, but.
And and everything was well acted. Like, I don't want to glaze over that, but I feel like the writing was the elephant in the room, no pun intended. Like, the writing was so intentional and obvious that if that writer's room doesn't get awards, I'm scratching my head and thinking there's a conspiracy to keep it. And I'm not trying to gas it up, but I mean,
gas. It needs it. Like, yeah, man. Because either you just didn't watch it, or you was one of the people that was upset after episode 1 and got to talking about how white supremacy all over again. No, man, it needs to be talked about.
I'm not much of an awards person, so I lost faith in people's ability to judge things, how good things are a lot of times. A long time ago.
These days.
Let me ask you both a question.
Sure.
So let's say it gets a second season. It's a given. It's already been announced. When we leave here, we're going to find out on social media that it's been announced that there will be a second season. If you had to pick one central theme for a second season,
thing, man.
What do you think it should center around?
The death of truth.
That's strong.
The death of facts.
Okay. What about you?
Facts don't matter anymore in America.
I'm really trying to think, but like, I have to co-sign Will's Wally's deal. That's what this era is showing is going to be the next thing. This absence of facts that are convenient to the people in power. Like, we are in a situation now where I'm gonna go straight to the point. We're in a place now where articles of impeachment have been presented, and we literally have a party going, I'm gonna cheat. I'm not gonna be fair. And it's like, you can't say that and then turn around and say I'm all for the Constitution. So that makes me sad.
Truth is convenient.
Right. And when they talk about sadness and fear, I'm circling back to the show, but when they talk about the sadness and fear, that's part of it. We're living in America, and it replays every single day. We watch the news. There's a person watching the news, and then there's a black person watching the news. And every single time here's the deciphered message. Well, yep, another person died. I guess I go to work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like, I don't know. That's what's infuriating and sad, that it feels like it never gets better because nobody talks about it. And the facts, when there's facts presented and it's like, nah, what are facts?
Yeah.
What's science?
Yeah.
Like we're dealing with climate change, right?
Yeah.
That's science. That's factual evidence. The Earth is heating up. It's 100 degrees in October.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing? Like, that doesn't have to be political.
Yeah.
The facts are the facts. Like, you can be on both sides and go, it's bad. Like,
And then, like I said, and even scarier, man, stuff that is not factual can be made to look like real, like it's the truth. Like it could be images, digital images.
and technology
videos,
has
stuff like that.
moved.
Man,
Yeah.
I mean, dude, they de-aging folks out here. You know what I'm saying? It's like, they can do whatever they want to do. And just because you see it doesn't mean that it is. And that, I think, helps to contribute to what I said is the death of truth, right? Like, because now you can't determine. It's all, it's all gray area now. It's fuzzy now. You don't know. You have to physically touch it now, right? You have to have it in your hand in order for you to ascertain that it's real.
I mean, what's chilling to me is we have a president that said, I can walk out in Times Square and shoot a man and nobody's going to do anything about it. And what is happening?
Yeah.
I mean,
I think that's a good theme for a second season. We need to get Lindelof on the phone. I think you're on to something there. I think both of you are definitely on to something.
I mean, I don't know. But the fact that they painted, I don't even want to call it a love. It's not even a love letter. In some ways, it's a love letter to black folks, but it's not even a love letter. It's like presenting facts. Mm-hmm. And they're facts that
a letter of empathy, though.
Correct, and a letter of empathy, and it's also it's laying out facts. And what I find interesting is people are accepting the facts, and it's uncomfortable facts. Mm-hmm. Like,
because they can't go back and change that.
Like, for example, he said there's people that hear about Tulsa and they go, and then you have a black person that knows about. Oh well, hey. That happened and that's real. And let me tell you about this, and this. Pulaski, boom.
Like, they don't want to talk. And man, and I feel like I'm going off tangent, but man, I was listening to episode 1 of Another Watchman podcast. This is not to disparage anyone else's podcast or their efforts to talk about this show, but I listened to episode 1 particularly to hear what their thoughts were about that opening scene,
right?
And they're Caucasian as they normally are when they're on the podcast mic. There ain't many, there ain't a whole lot of us doing this.
Yeah.
And I guess I shouldn't have been surprised, but I was at how they just quickly glazed over it. I mean, it was just like, man, a lot of people got killed. Yeah, I didn't know about that. And fast forward to old 105-year-old man and blah blah blah, and watch this boy. And
well, but you
what?
Yeah, but you have to really break that down though. They didn't know.
I know, but
they didn't research either.
In a culture where people so worship intelligence and knowledge or the appearance of it, especially fanboys, the fact that you didn't want to learn or try to, it was too hurtful.
But you got to understand,
they don't want to go there.
But you got to understand, it's in the wrapper of again. Lindelof said, I wanted to throw a Trojan horse in there about race. Mm-hmm. He wrapped it with the Watchmen wrapper. Now, granted, the graphic novel is fertile ground for that, to do that, which shows his genius and appreciation for the source material. But I'm not going to their defense, but my thing is, like, as black folks, when we saw that, it was like, what? They're starting the show with this?
Right.
When somebody else watches it, they're like, I'm not sure if this is real. Because, like, I mean, you can watch Westworld and they have this
You know that ain't
fantastical.
real.
Well, I know that,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I guess
yeah.
what I'm saying is, like,
They treat it the same way. Just
Right.
just some outlandish good writing
Yeah.
for sake
Yeah.
of cinema.
yeah,
I think speaking to the idea of both what both of you are saying, that you mentioned a moment ago, it being a love letter to black people in America. I would say it is, and here's
Right.
why I would say it is because it speaks to a truth. And the thing is,
Right.
we have had to walk in a truth that no one else was willing to acknowledge for a long time.
Or don't have to.
you're absolutely right. I was
so-
scared to call it a love letter because it dealt with the
Because
trauma
it's so-
and stress.
because-
yes,
yeah,
pain.
but the
yes.
thing is, to acknowledge one's trauma,
Correct.
is an act of love.
Exactly.
And anything less than that is not. And that's the thing about the idea of America being divisive. We use language that makes it sound like America is divided because there are two groups of people moving in two different directions that they can't meet in the middle. But the truth is there is no middle between you murdering me and you not murdering me.
That's yeah.
So the issue is not because Americans can't see eye to eye on simple things.
Right.
The issue is that we have to recognize, no matter what anybody tells you, the very soul of America is at stake.
Right.
And the soul of America will continue to be at stake and will continue to suffer as long as America does not acknowledge its original sin
Correct.
and the trauma that comes with its original sin.
Right.
The thing is,
And other countries are doing it. Like
Yeah.
Germany's doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and the thing is that when we talk about this idea of truth, is that we're moving further away from that truth, because it's one thing that America won't acknowledge the implications of slavery and the things and the results that it birthed and all the things that happened because of it. It's another thing when now they try to find not to acknowledge the happenstance of slavery. So, well, no, the Civil War wasn't about that, and no, those guys were hired workers. And so what happens is
Right.
what happens is that when you continue to push back on other people's trauma, it creates a situation where there can't be growth.
right.
There can't be empowerment. There can't be any of the things that America is said to stand on, the Constitution and all of those, everything that people say that they believe in the Constitution, everything that they say that they believe in as God-fearing citizens, that they are willing to disavow for the sake of white supremacy,
Yes.
will be the things that destroy this country.
Right.
And that's in no uncertain terms. Like it's if you are someone who is a believer in any of the precepts of Christianity, and
Right.
you've watched cultures completely be destroyed, it is always because the powerful does not want to let go of their power. And they become so top heavy that they crush everything up under them until the whole foundation is destroyed. And America is no different. And that's where we are. But the beginning of that is truth.
Right.
And the truth is our trauma. And as long as we can, so the question becomes for us, to be honest, and then I'll quit speechifying after this. I know I get long-winded. You got to watch.
No.
That's
You're good.
why you are here.
The question becomes, is that we know the trauma is real. If you won't acknowledge it, what do we do? That's what the question becomes at the end of the day for black people. And I've been thinking about this a lot lately because we're doing our last episode of the scenario of the year, and it's called the decade of. And we've all got these different things. It's the decade of this or the decade of that. And mine is actually going to be called the decade of clarity, because we've come through an entire decade where for the first time in American history, we've had access to really expensive, really good cameras. And we've had really good broadband. So for the first time, everything that we've been saying for decades and decades
Shown
and
in
decades,
HD.
we can show you. And you see it yourself in your hand. And for an entire decade, you saw it, and you've already made your decision. I don't care. So the question now is, you know the truth, I know the truth. But the thing is, I can't continue to try to make you believe the truth that you see. I have to decide, what am I going to do? And that's where we are now. That's where Black America is now. What are we going to do?
So the line about wounds need air, like what we're talking about are wounds, wounds from slavery, wounds from classism, whatever, like name it. I know that line was because Will Reeves said it, he's like, okay, I know I dealt with a lot of fear and sadness, and I wore a mask. He didn't say, well, okay, it's a lovely day now, but he says internally, I need to heal, and basically the only way you're gonna heal is not be behind this mask.
Yeah.
So as black folks, that's pretty much just saying, like, look, just show who you are, like, love who you are, and don't be afraid of it.
Right.
You know, like, I guess what the question I'm trying.
Carefully, corporate America.
Well, no, I guess the question I want to ask is, like, you know, I'm hoping that other people that watch the show take that line as much. I think we find the appreciation in it because we're already dialed in to what they're telling us. You know, but my fear is
He's preaching
people
to the choir.
Yeah, my fear is like, oh, there's like Whiz Bang and Dr. Manhattan and like, and I
was a
just
great show.
Right.
But I think the thing that we have to always be mindful of is that if America has provided nothing else, it's provided the idea that if you understand something that is powerful and you're willing to act on that then that's enough.
Right.
That's the beginning of something important.
Right.
So if you know that it's important for you to live your truth,
Right.
and I know that, and I live that truth,
Right.
that's as empowering as we can hope to be.
Right.
Now, that may be the beginning of something great.
Yeah.
But-
That's what I'm hoping. I think that's
Yeah.
what I was trying to say. I'm hoping that rings truer than the source material.
Yeah.
Like, that line alone was like
Yeah.
like it sucked all the air out in the room. It's just like,
Yeah.
man, like,
And it's like we're at a place where we have to. That's the decision. It's like I know that they don't understand. I know that some of them willfully won't understand and they don't want to understand.
Right.
But I have to decide that I can't live within the parameters of their imagination anymore.
Correct.
I have to live in what is mine, and that means if they are uncomfortable with that, that's fine.
Right.
Because my wounds need air.
right.
And that's what we have to
And
learn to walk
in regards to mental health, that's independent of race. I think that's the thing. Like, people have to understand that, like, we all go through trauma, and a lot of beauty comes out of trauma. Like, sometimes that pushes us forward. We have adversity in our lives, and we become stronger. It's like we have these muscles that get developed for supernatural reasons, because you've just been under a lot of pressure and adversity, and you see these people that come out of that, and you're like, man, this person's a celebrity, or this person is a legend. How is he doing this? How are we getting Stevie Wonder? Like, this dude's blind, like appreciating the beauty of that, and
Bass Reeves was a real man.
right.
And the trauma that he, the greatness
I didn't know that.
yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I didn't know Bass Reeves was a real guy.
He was a real, Lone Ranger is based on and that's, again,
Right.
that's it. Our trauma, that's the thing. You can't have, I've seen, there's a t-shirt, they say they want our rhythm but not our blues. The thing is, you can't have one without the other.
Right.
America
Nobody wanna
cannot,
be.
despite what they would
Nobody
like to
wanna
hide, you cannot have one without the other.
Right.
So you can't have the Legends of Lone Ranger without our trauma. You can't have rock and roll without our trauma. You can't have any of these things without our trauma.
Right.
There's no way to do it. And to attempt to continue to separate yourself from it is only to break yourselves down.
Right.
And that's the thing that I think people have to be able to understand about it.
Yeah. I mean, I worked in the country music realm, and there was a debate going on about there was a documentary about country music, and they linked the banjo to
An African
Africa,
instrument.
and that ruffled some feathers for some. And being in that environment, it was interesting to see that transpire.
Yeah.
It was
And
like,
it's
oh no,
interesting.
like, no, that can't be true, and it's like, why not?
The instrument itself, the name is phonetically African. Banjo. Do you understand when you say that word banjo?
Right.
It is phonetically it's African. When you hear it coming off of your lips, it's African.
Yeah,
and it's like so it's very true.
Yeah, man. I know we're going all over the place. But it's just
the paragon of wisdom.
Yes.
And hopefully there'll be an opportunity to really bring a lot of this other stuff.
Yes, for sure.
To light. So
Yes.
Yeah, great show.
Great
Thank you.
show.
Excellent
Get
show.
that steel book when it comes out.
Best Buy steel book.
That is correct. But one
so,
more.
Mr. Nuts, maybe he'll buy around for everybody. I've never met him, but I've heard things.
It is Christmas time.
Oh, have a very Merry Christmas. Chris Kringle. I would be remiss if we didn't acknowledge those who have donated to this podcast religiously on patreon.com/EST1982 podcast. That is patreon.com/EST1982 podcast. We now have 10 members of the 10 Rings. 10 Rings. And we are so very thankful for you. Starting with my lovely wife. My lovely wife, she lets me come out here and do these podcasts on a weeknight, leaving with them kids.
National treasure.
Yes, absolutely. Right. Carrie Ledbetter, thank you so much. We have Raphael M. Jordan. Thank you for your support. We have Jamal Whiteman out there in Philly representing. Thank you, Jamal Whiteman. We got Terrence, don't call me Richie Rich. Brandon King, Enigmatic 52. Militant Billy out there, Maze TV.
He has to catch up. He hasn't watched the show.
Excuse me?
Oh, wow.
Yes.
He would love this show. Militant Billy?
He's been on the Facebook group like, I got to catch up. I was like, you got to catch up.
Militant Billy. About to get his card taken.
Right.
My goodness. The Professor, thank you for your support. Thank you so much. We have Tori Moore out there in the ATL. Johnny Prototype in Cali representing. And number 10, Jim Stumble. Thank you so much. I learned he's a Bears fan. I think that's correct. I feel his pain since we talking about trauma.
Trauma Trubisky.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. You know what I'm saying? It's just been a rough go. But yes, thank you for your support. And if you would like to be a member of Ocean's 11, you can join on patreon.com/EST1982 podcast. Again, we thank you for your support. Paragon of Wisdom, Van Everett, thank you again for being our first guest and the final one.
Always a pleasure.
The perfect bookend to this wonderful show that is HBO's Watchmen. And like you said, if they stop, fine. If they keep going, do it right.
Yeah,
I'll be watching.
There's a lot at stake. You set the bar high.
Yeah, if it's HBO, it'll be 5 years from now.
Yeah.
Right. So
no rush. No
rush. Please take all the time you need to give us the quality of the show that you've given us over these last 9 episodes. So again, patreon.com/EST1982 podcast. You can go out to the website EST1982podcast.com.
Sorry,
no,
I just want to make sure to throw a shameless plug in.
Please,
I was going to ask you to. No, I was going to do it.
Also, make sure if you can bear my ranting, just know that you can get more of that, at least 2 hours worth a week with the Scenario Radio Show. Now it's got a lot of music in there too, and I've got other people to temper it because I have to have other people in the room to cut me off. But no, it's a great show. We talk about everything, real talk with a playlist. And music undergirds the entire thing because that's what ties it all together for us, and we enjoy ourselves.
You might hear a banjo on that month.
You may very well hear a banjo. If you don't hear a banjo, you may definitely hear something about the phonetics of banjo because I can go there.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the scenario. This may be the last Watchmen podcast, but hopefully not. Hopefully not.
Right.
We would like to be able to bring you something a little special. But if they do a season 2, possibly.
There's some excuses to maybe have an episode here and there. Just keep it open.
Absolutely.
Keep it subscribed. Don't delete it from your phone.
Don't uncheck it.
Yeah, we got more for you
on the Spotify, Google Play, iTunes. What is it? Apple Podcasts. No, that's what they call this. But old people still call it iTunes.
Right.
I'm old. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But again, thank y'all for your support. Everybody who has supported, whether it be with their money or their time, we appreciate it because there's a ton of Watchmen podcast out there. But thank you to everybody that has listened, and until the next time we hit you with a Dr. Manhattan, a female Dr. Manhattan, perhaps.
Man, now
Full frontal nudity.
Oh, whoa,
With a female.
whoa, wait.
You know, I had to throw some foolishness in there before we left. We'll holler at y'all.
The views.
We'll holler at
The
y'all.
views.